First Contact and Silence. The Arecibo message of 1974 was humanity's first deliberate attempt to reach out to the stars. For decades after, silence reigned. Humanity continued to send signals into the void, hoping for a response, but none came. As Earth's technology advanced, so did the sophistication and power of its transmissions. By 2045, the United Earth Council had established a network of powerful radio telescopes and transmitters across the globe and on the far side of the moon, all dedicated to the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Dr. Samira Patel stood in the control room of the Lunar Farside Array, her dark eyes fixed on the massive display wall. It showed a real-time map of the galaxy, overlaid with a web of green lines representing Earth's outgoing transmissions. She absently twirled a lock of her graying hair around her finger, a habit from her younger days that persisted despite her current position as Director of Interstellar Communications. "Another day, another silence," muttered her colleague, Dr. Chenwei, as he slumped into his chair beside her. Samira nodded, her expression a mixture of determination and weariness. "We keep trying, Wei. That's all we can do." As if on cue, a series of rapid beeps emanated from one of the nearby consoles. A young technician's eyes widened as she called out, "Dr. Patel, we're detecting something unusual." Samira and Wei rushed to the console, their fatigue forgotten. On the screen, a cluster of fast-moving objects had appeared at the edge of the solar system, well beyond the orbit of Neptune. "Are those ships?" Wei whispered, his voice a mix of awe and disbelief. Samira's heart raced as she studied the data. "If they are, they're like nothing we've ever seen before. Their speed, their trajectory. It's all wrong for natural objects." As the control room erupted into a flurry of activity, Samira made the call she'd both dreamed of and dreaded for years. "This is Director Patel. Initiate First Contact Protocol." "I repeat, initiate First Contact Protocol." Within hours, the news had spread across the globe. Humanity held its collective breath as the mysterious objects drew closer, their nature becoming clearer with each passing moment. They were indeed ships, massive, gleaming constructs that defied Earth's understanding of physics. As the alien fleet entered the inner solar system, Earth's most powerful transmitters sprang to life. Messages of peace and welcome were broadcast in every known human language, along with mathematical and pictorial communications designed to transcend linguistic barriers. But as the hours ticked by, an unsettling realization began to dawn on the scientists and leaders of Earth. The aliens weren't responding. Samira stood before the United Earth Council, her usual composure strained. "Ladies and gentlemen, despite our best efforts, we have received no reply from the approaching vessels. They continue to advance towards Earth at a steady pace." The council chamber erupted into worried murmurs. General Maria Hernandez, head of Earth's defense forces, leaned forward. "Dr. Patel, what are your recommendations? Should we consider these visitors a threat?" Samira took a deep breath. "I believe it's too early to make that determination, General. Their lack of response doesn't necessarily indicate hostile intent. We must consider the possibility that their methods of communication are simply beyond our current understanding. Or perhaps," interjected Counselor Yuki Tanaka, "they simply don't consider us worth talking to." The room fell silent at this sobering thought. Samira pushed ahead. "Regardless of their intentions, I recommend we continue our attempts at communication while preparing for all possible scenarios." As the meeting adjourned, Samira couldn't shake a feeling of unease. She dedicated her life to this moment, to the hope of first contact. But now that it had arrived, it was nothing like she'd imagined. Back at the lunar array, Samira and her team worked tirelessly, crafting new messages and analyzing every scrap of data from the approaching fleet. Days passed, and still there was no response. The silence was deafening. As the alien ships entered Earth orbit, the world watched and waited. Military forces around the globe were on high alert, fingers hovering over triggers that could unleash humanity's most devastating weapons. Yet Samira and her fellow scientists pleaded for patience, for one more chance at peaceful contact. In a last-ditch effort, Samira authorized the use of a highly experimental quantum entanglement communicator. Theoretical physicists had suggested it might be able to transmit information instantaneously across vast distances, potentially bridging the gap between human and alien technology. As the device hummed to life, Samira spoke into the microphone, her voice calm despite the weight of the moment. "This is Dr. Samira Patil of Earth. We welcome you in peace and hope to establish dialogue. Please respond." For a heartbeat, there was nothing. Then, a burst of static filled the room, coalescing into a series of complex tones and clicks. Samira's eyes widened as she turned to her team. "We've got something. Begin analysis immediately." As linguists and cryptographers scrambled to decipher the alien response, a new hope blossomed. Perhaps, Samira thought, this was the beginning of a new chapter for humanity, one that would see them join a larger galactic community. But even as she allowed herself to hope, a nagging doubt persisted. Why had the aliens remained silent for so long? And what did their sudden willingness to communicate mean for Earth's future? As the first part of this cosmic drama drew to a close, one thing was certain. Humanity's place in the universe was about to change forever. The question remained, would it be for better or for worse? The misunderstanding escalates. As Earth's finest minds worked feverishly to decipher the alien message, tension around the globe reached a fever pitch. The alien fleet hung in low Earth orbit, a constant reminder of humanity's newfound vulnerability. General Maria Hernandez paced the floor of the Global Defense Command Center, her weathered face etched with concern. Holographic displays showed the positions of Earth's military assets, poised for action at a moment's notice. "Any progress on the translation, Dr. Patel?" she asked, her voice taut with barely contained stress. Samira's hologram flickered to life in the center of the room. "We're making headway, General. The message appears to be a complex mathematical sequence, possibly a key to understanding their language." "That's not good enough," Hernandez snapped. "We need to know their intentions now. Those ships have enough firepower to glass the planet 10 times over." As if on cue, alarms blared throughout the command center. A young lieutenant called out, "General, we're detecting energy buildups in the alien fleet." Hernandez's eyes widened. "Weapons? Unknown, ma'am. But the output is off the charts." The general's jaw clenched. "Dr. Patel, I'm initiating Defense Protocol Alpha. We can't risk." "Wait," Samira interrupted, her hologram flickering with static. "The energy signature. It's not consistent with any known weapon. It could be." Her words were cut off as the alien ships began to move. In perfect synchronization, they spread out across the globe, taking up positions over major cities and strategic locations. Panic erupted worldwide. Social media exploded with speculation and fear. Governments struggled to maintain order as millions fled urban centers, clogging highways and overwhelming rural communities. In New York, Tokyo, Lagos, and a dozen other megacities, the skies darkened as massive alien vessels hovered overhead. Their hulls shimmered with an otherworldly energy, casting an eerie glow over the panicked populace below. Back at the lunar array, Samira and her team worked with desperate intensity. "The energy readings," she muttered, poring over the data. "They're similar to our quantum entanglement device, but on a scale we can barely comprehend." Dr. Chenwei looked up from his own console, his eyes wide with realization. "Samira, what if they're trying to communicate?" Before Samira could respond, a blinding flash lit up the lunar sky. On Earth, similar flashes erupted from each of the alien ships. For a moment, the world held its breath, fearing the worst. But there was no destruction. Instead, holographic displays sprang to life in the skies above every major city. Alien symbols and diagrams filled the air, shifting and changing in complex patterns. "It's a Rosetta Stone," Samira breathed, awe overwhelming her fear. they're teaching us their language. As linguists and cryptographers around the world dove into the new data, military tensions remained high. General Hernandez watched the alien displays with a mixture of wonder and suspicion. It could be a trick, she warned. A way to lower our guard. Samira's voice crackled over the comm. General, I don't think. Her words were drowned out by a deafening boom. In the skies over Beijing, one of the alien ships had exploded in a brilliant fireball. Debris rained down on the city below, causing widespread destruction. What happened? Hernandez demanded, her voice rising in alarm. Reports flooded in from Chinese military channels. In the chaos and fear, a rogue commander had launched an experimental electromagnetic pulse weapon, hoping to disable the alien vessel. Instead, it had triggered a catastrophic reaction. The response was immediate. The remaining alien ships began to emit a high-pitched whine, their hulls glowing with increasing intensity. Earth's military forces went to full alert, missiles armed and fighters scrambled. In the lunar array's control room, alarms blared as instruments overloaded. No, 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 Samira muttered, her fingers flying over her console. This isn't an attack. It's, oh God. The realization hit her like a physical blow. The aliens weren't preparing to retaliate. They were trying to contain the damage, to prevent a chain reaction that could devastate the planet. But to Earth's military, primed for conflict, it looked like the opening moves of an all-out assault. General Hernandez, Samira shouted into her comm, "You have to stand down. It's a misunderstanding." But her words were lost in the chaos. Around the world, humanity's most advanced weapons were brought to bear against the alien fleet. Missiles streaked into the sky, energy weapons powered up, and soldiers prepared for a ground invasion that could spell the end of human civilization. As the crisis spiraled out of control, Samira made a desperate decision. "Wei," she called to her colleague, "prep the shuttle. We're going up there." Wei's eyes widened in disbelief. "Up, you mean, to the alien ships?" Samira nodded grimly. "Someone has to stop this madness, and right now we're the only ones who might have a chance of communicating with them." As Samira and Wei raced to the lunar landing pad, the fate of two civilizations hung in the balance. The aliens' true intentions remained a mystery, but one thing was clear. If this misunderstanding couldn't be resolved quickly, there might not be much of Earth left to save. The shuttle's engines roared to life, propelling Samira and Wei towards an uncertain destiny. As they rose from the lunar surface, Earth gleamed before them, a blue marble suspended in the void, now threatened by the very contact humanity had long dreamed of. Samira clutched the arm of her seat, her heart pounding. "Hold on, Wei," she whispered. "We're about to make history, if we survive long enough to record it." The shuttle accelerated, racing against time and human fear, carrying with it the last desperate hope for peace. Unraveling the mystery. The small lunar shuttle streaked through Earth's upper atmosphere, buffeted by turbulence as it approached the massive alien vessel hovering over the Atlantic Ocean. Samira's knuckles were white as she gripped the controls, her eyes fixed on the looming shape ahead. "Are you sure about this?" Wei asked, his voice quavering slightly. "They might view our approach as an attack." Samira nodded grimly. "It's a risk we have to take. If we don't stop this now, there won't be an Earth left to save." As they neared the alien ship, its true scale became apparent. The vessel was easily the size of a small country, its surface a maze of intricate patterns and pulsing lights. Samira guided their shuttle towards what appeared to be an opening, a cavernous bay that dwarfed their tiny craft. Suddenly, a beam of pale blue light engulfed the shuttle. Samira and Wei tensed, expecting the worst, but instead of destruction, they felt a gentle tug. The alien ship was guiding them in. "They're helping us dock," Wei murmured in disbelief. As the shuttle settled onto the floor of the vast hangar, Samira and Wei exchanged a look of mingled fear and excitement. This was it, humanity's first direct contact with an alien species. They donned their spacesuits and cycled through the airlock. As the outer door opened, they found themselves in an environment utterly unlike anything they had imagined. The air shimmered with a faint opalescent mist. Gravity felt slightly lighter than Earth normal. And all around them, the walls seemed to pulse with an inner light, as if the entire ship were alive. Amazing. Y breathed, his scientific curiosity momentarily overriding his fear. Samira nodded, equally awestruck. But their wonder was short-lived as a series of musical tones echoed through the chamber. The mist before them coalesced, taking on a vaguely humanoid shape. Samira stepped forward, her heart racing. "We come in peace," she said, her voice steady despite her nerves. "There has been a terrible misunderstanding. We need to communicate." The misty figure tilted its head, emitting another series of tones. Samira felt a tingling sensation in her mind, as if something was trying to make a connection. "Way," she whispered, "I think they're trying to establish some kind of telepathic link. Should we?" Before she could finish, the world around them shimmered and changed. Suddenly, they were no longer in the alien hangar, but standing on what appeared to be a lush alien world. The misty figure had resolved into a more distinct form, a tall, graceful being with iridescent skin and large, expressive eyes. "Welcome," a voice echoed in their minds. "We apologize for the confusion. Our methods of communication are different from yours." As Samira and Wei stood in stunned silence, the alien, who introduced itself as Zora, began to explain. Their race, the Luminarians, had been observing Earth for centuries. They had received humanity's transmissions but had been hesitant to respond, fearing that direct contact might disrupt human development. "We came now because we detected a grave threat to your world," Zora continued. "A stellar phenomenon that would have devastated your planet within a decade. We sought to help, to share our technology, but we underestimated the fear our arrival would cause." The truth hit Samira like a physical blow. All this time, the aliens had been trying to save humanity, not conquer it. The energy buildups, the positioning over cities, it was all part of a plan to shield Earth from an impending cosmic disaster. "The destruction of our ship in your sky," Zora explained, a note of sadness in its mental voice. "It nearly triggered a cascade failure that could have torn your world apart. We've been trying to stabilize the situation, but your weapons, they interfere with our efforts." Samira's mind raced. They needed to stop Earth's military action immediately, but how? Even if they could contact General Hernandez, would she believe them? As if reading her thoughts, and perhaps it was, Zara spoke again. "We can amplify your communication devices, allow you to broadcast the truth to your entire world simultaneously. But you must hurry. The window for saving your planet grows short." We looked at Samira, his expression a mixture of hope and determination. "We have to try," he said. Samira nodded, squaring her shoulders. This was the moment that would define not just her career, but the future of human civilization. "All right," she said to Zara, "let's do it." The alien landscape shimmered and faded, returning them to the hangar. But now, a shimmering portal of energy hung before them. Zara's voice echoed in their minds one last time. "Step through. Your words will reach every communication device on your world. Make them count." Samira took a deep breath, then stepped forward into the light. As the energy washed over her, she felt a connection to every human on Earth. In that moment, she understood the true magnitude of what was at stake. Her voice, calm and clear, rang out across the globe. "People of Earth, this is Dr. Samira Patil. What I'm about to tell you will change everything you think you know about our place in the universe." As Samira spoke, relaying the truth about the Luminarians' intentions and the cosmic threat facing Earth, the world held its collective breath. In military command centers, on crowded streets, in homes and shelters, everyone listened. The fate of two civilizations hung on her words. Would humanity accept the truth, or would fear and mistrust lead to a conflict that could end both their worlds? As Samira finished her explanation, a deafening silence fell across the earth. The next few moments would determine the course of human history, and perhaps the future of life in the galaxy itself. Humanity's ingenuity shines. The silence following Samira's broadcast lasted only moments, but to her, it felt like an eternity. Then, like a dam breaking, the responses flooded in. Millions of voices, a cacophony of languages, all demanding answers, expressing fear, wonder, and hope in equal measure. In the Global Defense Command Center, General Hernandez stood frozen, her hand hovering over the launch controls. Her eyes met those of her senior staff, seeing her own conflict reflected in their faces. Finally, she took a deep breath and stepped back. "Stand down all weapons," she ordered, her voice steady despite the enormity of the decision. "I repeat, stand down. Let's hear them out." Across the globe, similar scenes played out in military installations and government offices. The immediate threat of war receded, replaced by a cautious openness to dialogue. Back on the alien ship, Samira and Wei worked feverishly with Zara and other Luminarian scientists. They had averted immediate disaster, but the greater threat, the impending stellar phenomenon, still loomed. "The problem," Zara explained, projecting a holographic model of the solar system, "is that our shield technology is calibrated for our own world. Adapting it to Earth's unique magnetic field and atmospheric composition has proven challenging." Wei studied the model, his brow furrowed in concentration. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. "What if," he began, excitement creeping into his voice, "we don't try to adapt your technology to Earth, but instead use it to enhance our own planetary defense systems?" Samira caught on immediately. "The Global Climate Stabilization Network," she breathed. "If we could integrate the Luminarian energy matrices with the GCSN satellites." Zara's large eyes blinked rapidly, a sign they had come to recognize as indicating intense thought. "It could work," the alien mused, "but the integration would require precise calibration on a global scale." "Then we'll need to work together," Samira declared. Humanity and Luminarian, side by side. What followed was perhaps the greatest collaborative effort in Earth's history. As news of the true situation spread, scientists and engineers from every nation volunteered their expertise. The Luminarians shared their advanced knowledge, while humans provided crucial insights into Earth's unique characteristics. In orbit, astronauts and Luminarian technicians worked in tandem, retrofitting satellites and space stations with hybrid technology. On the ground, a global network of coordination centers sprang up, managing the massive flow of data and fine-tuning the planetary shield's parameters. But it wasn't just the scientific elite who contributed. As understanding of the Luminarian language and culture grew, linguists and anthropologists played crucial roles in facilitating communication. Artists and musicians found common ground with the aliens' love of harmony and vibration, creating collaborative works that bridged the gap between species. Even children got involved, their uninhibited creativity leading to breakthroughs in visualizing complex multidimensional equations that proved key to the shield's function. As the days turned to weeks, the collaborative effort began to bear fruit. The planetary shield took shape, a gossamer network of energy and advanced technology encircling the Earth. But time was running out. The stellar phenomenon, a massive coronal mass ejection from a nearby star, was approaching faster than initially predicted. In a last-ditch effort to complete the shield, Samira proposed a radical idea. "We need to synchronize the entire network simultaneously," she explained to a joint council of human and Luminarian leaders. "But our computing systems aren't fast enough to manage it all at once." "What do you suggest?" General Hernandez asked, now a staunch advocate for the joint effort. Samira took a deep breath. "We use the human mind, billions of people, all focusing on the same thing at the same moment. Combined with Luminarian telepathic amplification, it could provide the synchronization we need." The idea was met with skepticism at first, but as other options dwindled, it gained traction. A global broadcast was planned, calling on every human on Earth to participate. As the moment approached, Samira stood before a camera, flanked by Wei and Zara. The eyes of two worlds were upon them. "People of Earth," Samira began, her voice calm despite the stakes. "In a few moments, we will face the greatest test in our history, but we will not face it alone. Stand with us. Focus your thoughts on protection, on unity, on the future we can build together. Let us show the universe the true strength of humanity." As the stellar flare approached, billions of humans closed their eyes, focusing their thoughts. The Luminarians added their own mental energies, amplified through their advanced technology. For a breathless moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, with a shimmer that was visible from space, the planetary shield sprang to life. A dazzling aurora spread across the sky as the coronal mass ejection struck. Its deadly energy dissipated harmlessly by the combined will and technology of two civilizations. As cheers erupted around the world, Samira, Wei, and Zara shared a look of profound relief and joy. They had done it. Against all odds, humanity had not only survived its first contact with an alien civilization, but had risen to meet a cosmic challenge. In that moment, Earth took its first true steps into a larger galactic community. The future, once uncertain, now shone with limitless possibility. A new era for Earth. The weeks following the activation of the planetary shield were a whirlwind of activity and emotion. As the immediate danger passed, humanity began to grapple with the profound implications of their new reality. They were not alone in the universe, and their place in it had forever changed. Dr. Samira Patel stood at the podium in the newly constructed United Earth and Luminarian Council chamber, her eyes scanning the diverse audience before her. Human diplomats sat side by side with Luminarian representatives, their iridescent forms shimmering in the soft light. 1 year ago, Samira began, her voice steady and clear. "We faced extinction. Today we stand at the dawn of a new era for Earth and for our newfound friends, the Luminarians." She paused, allowing her words to sink in. "The planetary shield that now protects our world is more than just a defense against cosmic threats. It is a symbol of what we can achieve when we set aside our differences and work together, not just as a species, but as part of a larger galactic community." In the audience, Dr. Chen Wei nodded, a proud smile on his face. Beside him, Zara's large eyes blinked in what humans had come to recognize as an expression of approval. Samira continued, "The Luminarian technology we've integrated into our systems has accelerated our scientific progress by decades, if not centuries. Clean energy is now a reality for every nation on Earth. Our medical capabilities have advanced to the point where diseases once thought incurable are being eradicated." She gestured to a holographic display that sprang to life behind her, showing images of new technologies and scientific breakthroughs. But perhaps even more important than these technological advancements are the social and cultural changes we've undergone. The display shifted, showing scenes of humans and Luminarians working together in various settings: laboratories, classrooms, even art studios. We've learned to see beyond our differences, to value diversity not just among our own species, but across the cosmos. The philosophy of unity that the Luminarians shared with us has taken root, leading to unprecedented cooperation between nations and communities. General Maria Hernandez, now the head of Earth's new Interstellar Relations Department, leaned forward in her seat. She marveled at how much had changed in such a short time. The military forces she once commanded were now largely repurposed for space exploration and planetary defense. Samira's voice took on a note of caution. "But we must not become complacent. Our journey has only just begun. As we take our first steps into the galactic community, we must remember the lessons of our first contact. Open-mindedness, patience, and a willingness to understand those different from ourselves will be crucial." She turned to address the Luminarian representatives directly. "To our Luminarian friends, we extend our deepest gratitude. You came to us in our hour of need, despite the risks and misunderstandings. Your wisdom and technology have given us a second chance, and we pledge to use it wisely." Zara stood, its form shimmering with emotion. In the year since first contact, the Luminarians had learned to modulate their telepathic communications to be more easily understood by humans. Its thoughts echoed through the chamber. We are honored to stand with humanity. Your creativity, your resilience, your capacity for growth, these are rare and precious traits in the universe. Together, we look forward to exploring the cosmos and facing its challenges as one. As Zara sat down, Samira delivered her closing remarks. A year ago, we sent messages into space, hoping for a reply. We never could have imagined the response we'd receive. Now, as we look to the future, we do so not in fear of the unknown, but with excitement for the wonders we have yet to discover. She raised her hand, palm outward in the gesture of peace that had become a symbol of human Luminarian cooperation. To the stars, together. The chamber erupted in applause, a mix of human voices and Luminarian harmonic tones. As Samira stepped down from the podium, she was immediately surrounded by well-wishers from both species. Later that evening, Samira stood on the observation deck of the new International Space Station, gazing down at the Earth below. The planetary shield shimmered faintly, a constant reminder of how close they had come to annihilation, and how far they had come since. We joined her, handing her a cup of tea. "Quite a view, isn't it?" he said softly. Samira nodded, sipping her tea. "It's beautiful. And to think, this is just the beginning." As if on cue, a Luminarian ship glided into view, its sleek form a stark contrast to the angular human vessels nearby. It was preparing for the first joint human-Luminarian deep space expedition, a mission that would take them beyond the solar system to explore nearby star systems. "Are you ready for the next adventure?" Wei asked, a twinkle in his eye. Samira smiled, her gaze fixed on the stars beyond. "More than ready. We've got a whole universe to explore, after all." As Earth rotated below them, cities glittering like jewels against the darkness, Samira felt a profound sense of hope. The road ahead would not be easy. There would be challenges, misunderstandings, and obstacles to overcome. But humanity had proven its worth among the stars. They had faced extinction and emerged stronger, wiser, and more united than ever before. Whatever the cosmos had in store for them, they would face it together, with each other, with their Luminarian allies, and with any other sentient beings they might encounter along the way. The silence that had once filled the void had been broken, and in its place, a symphony of cooperation and discovery was just beginning to play.